Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, I thought I'd do some quick, brief, technical analysis here on Bitcoin. So as we get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, let's get right down into Bitcoin here, see what's been going on and what I expect to happen next. So I'm just going to turn the analysis back on here so you can see it's obviously quite messy, but we have been analyzing Bitcoin for quite some time. And you know what's been going on yesterday, we ultimately had this impulsive move to the downside, these impulsive waves coming down. Now we actually fell a little bit short here. We potentially were looking at going down a little bit lower, so I am thinking that we are more than likely going to pull back down a tad further. So what we can do is obviously measure the distance here on our fourth wave and just take it from this low point and this high point. And you can see here that we hit the 1.382 pretty clearly. Let me just move that fib over there a little bit. Right, we got bounced from the 1.382. This is a 1.382 from this fourth wave, right? Obviously, we had this high wick as the market tried to figure out what was going on with the interest rates yesterday. You know, is it good news? Is it bad news? Obviously, sellers got the upper hand here, and they kind of got control of it, bringing the price back down. Buyers kind of tried their best to kind of get control, but didn't really have too much that they could do about it. We found upper resistance here, and failing to kind of move past 39,650. As you can see, this is an area that we have also previously consolidated on. So finding this upper resistance here, we're going to get rejected from it, we could see. Now, obviously, at the point of coming up into this upper resistance, we also had an overbought stochastic RSI. So we knew that the momentum of the price was running down. And again, we can check the volumes for this. If we come into here, you can see that we're pushing up, but ultimately there was a lot of selling pressure and just next to no, buying pressure. So we found the resistance held, and we fell back down. Now we moved from this overbought area to this oversold area in this move, this one particular wave down. As you can see, we actually failed to kind of fall right into the oversold area. We're actually quite low on the stochastic RSI, about 24 or so. So anything lower than 20 is technically oversold on the stochastic RSI. So not quite oversold, but very, very close to it. We bounced up, and that's exactly what you see here, back up into this overbought area on the stochastic RSI. So when we start thinking about this from an Elliott wave perspective, we do actually have, a potential move down still to come in here. And we actually have a standard ABC, okay, just inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove this, okay, and we'll grab another fib. This time what we're going to do is we're going to run this Fibonacci retracement from the upper area to the lower area, okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to understand what this move is, and whether or not we are going down further, right? So from here we actually have this high point, and we have this low point. So if I grab this and then I move it over to here, that resistance line, you can see that we come down to a 1-to-1 ratio on that. That bit effectively did complete the ABC move. Now we actually have a different scenario. So I'm going to quickly mark that up so you get an idea on what that looks like, right? So we have A, B, C. Nothing special about it. Let me zoom on in there. Okay, so knowing that we have that ABC move down, it means that you get the reversal, ABC up. There is, of course, a big caveat to this, and that is the fact that we've actually seen some kind of volatility here, and it looks like we might actually be on the cusp of an additional wave. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the distance now from this upper area to the lower area, this being effectively a one wave. And as we come up into here, you can see that we hit the 1.618. So we know that that's actually an impulsive move, right? Wave 3 has a minimum threshold of 1.618. So this actually is a really, really, really small impulsive move on our hourly chart. This is indicating that we're probably going to push up on the short time frame. We'll probably hit that upper resistance at 39,650 again, and then we're going to pull back down, okay? And I would again expect us to have some kind of corrective pattern afterwards, okay? So what I'm expecting here on the shorter time frames for Bitcoin is volatility, okay? We are looking for a small push up, as long as we don't invalidate this move, and we can check this by these two wicks here, and we'll just grab hold of a horizontal ray. Okay, very, very close. Let me just actually check, because it might have just hit it. So our high point here is 38,858. And our low point on this one is 38,856. So Yeah, technically invalid. So that is just ABC. So we are now looking at ABC down. Okay, always good to do those checks just in case. Those wicks were incredibly close. It's really difficult to see sometimes, but taking those measurements is really handy. So there you go. ABC up, now we're on ABC down, right? So corrective action. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's not impulsive down in this fifth wave, right? Normally you'd expect to see, 5 waves inside wave 5, for example, but there's overlap here. So if this was a wave 4, it's not allowed to cross wave 1, for example, right? So we know that this is just a bunch of corrective moves, ABC, ABC, ABC. And ultimately what we might be looking at here in terms of Elliott wave theory is probably a WXYXZ in terms of its structure. But I'm going to label it up as ABCs just because it makes it easier for many retail investors to understand that this is corrective in its nature. And I don't want to overcomplicate it with a bunch of additional letters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the volume back off, and we can understand that there's going to be volatility. We are looking for the downside action here on our hourly chart. Now, the good news, guys, is I'm not expecting us to come down and set a new lower low. In fact, these are all higher lows that we're looking at, specifically when we kind of zoom one out. Now, we were, of course, expecting a B wave down, and I'm going to kind of show you that on the larger timeframes in a moment. And then obviously moving up higher. So if we actually jump up into our 4-hourly chart right now, you can see that the stochastic RSI is completely oversold. So we're looking for a little bit of corrective action on the hourly, but the 4-hourly is actually in a really good spot for a good push back to the upside. The 8-hourly chart is correcting. It does need to come back down. It's very much like what our hourly chart is indicating to us. We're looking for corrective moves to continue this pullback down. Like I said, B wave is a little bit lower. My expectations on this were to come down to, around that kind of $36,000 range. I'm not expecting us to come down to 34,000 or anything like that. Now on the daily chart, we can also see we've had a nice corrective move here as well. You can see the ABC a little bit clearer here as we're thinking of coming down a tad lower. All of this here though could be a big ABC move on our daily chart. So we want to be quite open to the idea that this might actually come down very, very low, right down to our trend line. So if I just quickly mark this up without causing too much confusion, we could be also looking at something like this to take us down towards that $35,000 range. And we are getting ourselves tighter and tighter into this kind of wedge right in here, right? So if we do drop down to $35,000, I would imagine that we're going to be soaring quite rapidly up towards $45,000. Again, this upper trend line just here as well. So ultimately everything there is looking pretty good, right? And I'm going to remove that because we don't know if that's going to happen just yet, but if it does, that's kind of the outcome there. Now on the weekly, we can see that stochastic RSI is actually in a pretty good position. We're moving up, but the wicks on this weekly chart, they are concerning. So as you can see here, all of this wick area, this is basically demonstrating that sellers have control over the market, right? And there's a lot of volatility in the market right now for obvious reasons, but also down here we have buyers. Buyers have control at this point, right? So what you actually end up with, you're looking at the open and closed positions, you're looking at a very, very tight triangular wedge here forming, right, of where the price is actually stabilizing, and you've got the wicks kind of going above and beyond, but you're not getting closures outside of it. So this is actually encouragement because it shows us on a much larger scale the things that are going to be going on in terms of price action. Now obviously if we actually zoom on out, we have really good structure for the overall, right? We obviously have the ascending triangle here, this triangular wedge right inside this area that is basically indicating to us that we are going to be significantly soaring to the upside. Something similar happened back in wave 2, like it is happening here in wave 4. And as we start to think about going up into wave 5, $100,000 is kind of the minimum threshold that I have for this one, but we could quite easily and comfortably move well above $200,000 as well under the right circumstances. It's looking like we're going to have a very explosive move towards the end of this bull run. Now guys, I am going to leave this video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.